Oh yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Yoshi's right. A crossover event. You're right. That's a good point. What would you see as that's a very good point, Yoshi. Crossover event.
It is time once again for the main story quest, where the Trinity Bros give you their MMO opinion.
Anyway, so it is now time for our main story quest, where the Trinity Bros give you our MMO opinions. Okay, so some of you may have heard about this in the past, but Final Fantasy 14 had a crossover with
Nier?
not Nier. Thank you. Yeah, Nier. Yeah, right. Thank you.
Okay.
So my question is, given that there's all these MMOs out there, okay, what would you want to see two MMOs do cross play? Almost like take your character from, say, one game. Let's pick World of Warcraft. Your druid, your bear druid, and dump your bear druid into Star Wars: The Old Republic. So that's not my pick. I'm just saying that's an idea, okay? So Collective says World of Warcraft and Destiny combined. Okay, so Solomon, what would you think? What would be two MMOs you would love to see do cross-play?
I'm thinking about this, and for whatever reason, like, this is one of those questions where you can let your imagination play out, run wild, and just come out with really interesting combinations. But I'm having a really hard time putting two MMOs of a different genre together. For example, like you said, Star Wars and the World of Warcraft. Like, I'm trying to picture that in my head and what that would even look like, and I just can't do it. It would just be so weird to me.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking about, obviously I did World of Warcraft and SWTOR because it was truly not going to happen, okay? But I was thinking more like a fantasy type of thing. Like you think about like ESO, Elder Scrolls Online, kind of like doing a cross-play with like, say, Fallout 76, or even into Rift back in the day. Kind of fantasy stuff, kind of a little bit different, right? But just kind of cross-play like that, and be able to do some of the things you see. Now, it sounds so stupid because in one respect, you take a game, like take your character, just jump in there, and you're like, what's the balance with the, it's not the point. The point is taking your character from one game and running it through. Of course, they would do some cross-play, whatever, be a place where both worlds are together. You could never actually take your guy, your say your Rift character and fly over Stormwind, okay? But sorry. Yeah, Yoshi's right. A crossover event. You're right. That's a good point. What would you see that's a very good point, Yoshi. Crossover event. Maybe I should say that instead. Does it change your mind there, Solomon, by saying crossover? Yeah.
That actually makes more sense. No.
Let's start over again. What two games would you like to see a crossover event? Like bringing your druid into a going to Alderaan in SWTOR and trying to save Princess Leia. I don't know.
Man. You know what? I'm just gonna pick probably the most anticipated MMOs and just choose from that. So obviously, and this is obviously going to be a game that people are going to roll their eyes back. First one would be Star Citizen. And then oh man, that's a good question. Star Citizen and what other game? Okay, I'm gonna say Star Citizen and Crimson Desert.
Desert, okay, yeah, that'd be interesting.
2 games that aren't released, I get it. So maybe that's not a really realistic answer. But for the games that are already out, I think I'd just go to the safe bet and just pick either World of Warcraft and Black Desert Online or World of Warcraft and Final Fantasy 14. Okay. I think that's like doable. Again, I know we're not really looking for realistic answers here, but like for a crossover event, I think that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Not gonna ever happen because Blizzard has so much to lose by doing crossover events, and those other 2 games I mentioned has everything to gain. But yeah, I mean, they're all fantasy games, and they all have like different enough game mechanics and different features of the game where it's just uh, something that you would actually have to learn how to play, especially Black Desert Online, in my opinion. But yeah, I think it'd be really interesting to see like really just amazing looking tunes from Black Desert Online because it is one of the prettiest MMOs out there. And just going to like your early 2000 graphics in World of Warcraft and seeing the comparison
Yeah.
and people just fighting over what looks better or something.
Yeah.
I don't know, having a pageant contest or I don't know. Yeah, I think
Well,
that's my answer. Although that is a good question. I really wish I had more time to think about it. But yeah, that's my answer.
well, since Yoshi did a good job of clarifying what I actually meant was crossover event, now this puts more into like to me a Star Wars / Overwatch. Okay, not Overwatch. Sorry, Destiny crossplay. Okay, a crossover event.
Oh, I could
You
see
know,
that. I could see
taking
that.
my guy, who I play in Destiny 2 in the Emperor mode, coming over into SWTOR and
How's it
running
go?
around doing, you know, my warlock in yeah, that'd be kind of fun, but that would be kind of interesting to do that. And like I mean, Destiny 2 is a much prettier game. I love the system better than SWTOR. I love Star Wars. I would love to get back into SWTOR, but I just have a problem with the system. It just doesn't seem to be my kind of game. So all right, so SirJahzeal, you got some more time now. So we clarify it's a crossover event. What would you pick?
Yeah, well, originally when you went crossplay, I had all kinds of ideas, but crossover, where I instantly go, I've been sharing with you guys, and when I was on Twitter, I was sharing it on there too. But as you know, I don't hop on Twitter anymore. All those really cool updated graphics. Where people take World of Warcraft and put it into modern game engines.
That's
And
right.
that's instantly where my mind goes is it would be really cool to take that universe and plop it into a new modern engine and just go still be stylized, but more realistic, smoother graphics. And I wouldn't say super realistic or hyper realistic graphics. I still want it stylized, but man, it would just be so cool to see World of Warcraft universe more in the style of like Crimson Desert or Black Desert Online kind of graphics. And I would even say Guild Wars 2 would be really cool to see what it would look like on those engines. But as far as like if you're talking a crossover event where you're talking like Smash Brothers on Nintendo kind of a thing where it's all these different characters from totally different universes mixing together.
Yeah.
Man, that's a more difficult one.
Well, it's the Final 14 Nier Automata, crossover event.
Yeah, I kind of think it'd be Guild Wars 2 mixed with World of Warcraft, maybe. Yeah, would be kind of cool. ESO, man, that would be kind of cool to see ESO mixed with maybe Black Desert Online. I'm kind of thinking. I don't know, man. Be interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know what either of those options would have to benefit each other. Well, Guild Wars 2 would definitely benefit from. Would probably get an influx of people. I mean, let's just be honest. They are in the top 5, but they're on the other side. no offense, I still play Guild Wars 2. I still love you. But you are the low man on the totem pole. Let's just be honest. I just, I instantly, man, I can't help it. I go right to what would it look like, and when I go to, like I said, with those videos where they take World of Warcraft, and put it onto a newer engine. Oh my goodness, it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
It's just awesome. And I admit, man, if they ever do like a World of Warcraft 2 or something, I'm there. I want them to still keep that style, especially being a person that played Warcraft 1, 2, and 3 during the RPG or 8. Well, yeah, it's RPG days. I want them to keep that style. I don't want them to lose that. That's what makes them World of Warcraft. And not these other games. It has a lot to do with the style. So, yeah, I would go with that. But I think as far as not talking graphics, but fitting in, like making sense to even just a little smidgen of a degree. You'd have to stick with high fantasy. You couldn't just go sci-fi with, knights in shining armor, go into Star Citizen or something. Actually, I could see that.
Is that a challenge?
That's an interesting idea.
Right.
I mean, what was that movie about that kid that went back something
Percy?
in King Arthur's court?
Oh, but yeah, okay,
A kid in
yeah.
King Arthur's?
Yeah, that was
I
the
can't
Mark
remember.
Twain book. Like,
Yeah.
but they made it into a kid
They
one.
did make it into a movie. It was a Mark Twain book first, though, but I believe, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a book about going back in King Arthur's court, but it was based on an adult. This was a kid one. You're right. It was a
That was a kid one.
show. Yeah.
Hey, that's interesting. Now that I've said it, that was just kind of verbal
these are
diarrhea
all
there, but that
fantasy
actually could work.
worlds. These are all fantasy games. Okay, I mean,
True.
Well, wait a minute. There's no way you could put a World of Warcraft and a Star Wars crossover. It just wouldn't work. I'm like, they're both fantasy worlds, right? Well, yeah, but why don't you just pretend they're Ewoks, okay? And they got powers now, okay? I don't know.
Ewoks, how dare you?
Wait, hang on, really quick. When you said that, I totally forgot I had a copy of this. Oh, it's backwards.
Pride and
But it's
Prejudice
Zombies.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
I've heard about that.
that's actually a good movie, dude.
I like this movie. I know people hate this movie because it's so bad. But
I like it.
It's one of my favorite bad good movies of all time.
I mean, it's awful, but it's beautiful at the same time.
It is. I know.
It's just
I'm
like
gonna
an
get a lot of
Abraham
dislikes.
Lincoln versus zombies or
Oh my
zombie
goodness.
killer.
Or
Same
author.
Bill
I
and
thought.
Ted. Bill and
Yeah.
Ted, that's an adventure. We're going to bring back Abraham Lincoln, and yeah. All right. That's it for our main story quest. Next up, check out the further adventures of Kennethan by liking and subscribing and watching me live on twitch.tv/Kennethan.
Almost made it, Dad. Almost made it.
Once again, transition time. The burger comes through again.
Walk with us as we escort you to safety, experience, and the adventure of a lifetime.
It's just time for our escort quest, where we
I
lead
just
you
want
to
to know if mine's
safety,
ready.
experience, and the adventure of a lifetime. So this question is it's probably going to be quick answer. Would you ever want to make your own MMO? So SirJahzeal, you've been in this business for a while, but playing, you know devs, you know all that stuff. Would you ever want to make your own MMO?
Absolutely.
You know all the time, the trouble, the pain.
If I knew that I had the financial backing to make it happen, I had more of a one-on-one friendship with people that I knew I could trust to come in on the team and help hire other people that are not very knowledgeable and could make what's in my head appear on the screen. Absolutely, yeah. And no hesitation there, as you could tell.
Okay. Fair enough. I
Yeah.
wasn't quite sure because I know that some people like, Stephen Sharif, of course, had money from other places. And of course, he didn't funded Interpret Studios was making Ashes of Creation. I know of others who've tried to do something like this. There was a game called Eternal Novus, was like a persistent space type of thing. I first saw it at PAX like a decade ago, and I kickstarted it, but it kind of died. There was a guy who really wanted to make a game. This he was like a player or whatnot, but it's like, yeah, but it takes time and money. Even like Mark Jacobs, who is an expert or industry person, is doing the Camelot Unchained. Has taken some time because actually we work for them. They designed their own new engine, so just using the Unreal Engine, and so that creates some more time. But yeah, people have said it's like a pain in the butt. Whatever want to do it again. Apparently, some of the people in the industry do. Crowfall, another example, is people who are industry experts. All right, Solomon, would you want to make your own MMO?
My answer would be yes too, but I kind of had a wait a minute moment to kind of digress a little bit. If you guys didn't know, I got a 4-year degree in digital filmmaking and studio production. Biggest regret in my life. It was a stupid waste of money. If you're gonna get into film, don't go to school. You can learn everything on YouTube. Trust me.
Well,
There's
that's
some
true.
film degrees that are worth getting. Film isn't one of them. It really isn't. Anyways, the reason why I bring that up is because there was an analogy that my really good friend made that stuck with me all these years, even before I went to film school. And he's like saying, I'm not really sure if I want to do film anymore because, like, imagine making a hot dog, and that would probably totally ruin your experience of eating a hot dog because you actually know how they make it, and it's probably really gross. All the intricacies, like what they do to it, and all the gory details of the killing the pig and all that other stuff. And so possibly by learning how to make an MMORPG or just games in general, there's a chance I feel like that it would ruin your experience as a player because your mind might go into like dev mode, and you're like, oh, I would have done this differently, or I wouldn't done that differently. Oh, I see a mistake here, or I see a mistake there because you know how to make a game now. So yeah, there was a point in my life where I would watch a movie and I would go into that movie making mode, and it's just like, oh, if I was the director, I would have done this differently or that differently, or if I had if I had this position, maybe I was the producer or a set designer or something like that, and like granted, this moment didn't really last that long, but there still is that place in your head where you go into analytical mode. Well, at least in my case, that was the point. But even with that being said, I'd still want to do it anyways because old boomer hashtag YOLO, right?
Yeah.
So it's
Well-
like, if given the opportunity, given the resources, like, yeah, I would do it too. And like, it's just even if I knew it was going to be a complete failure, the fact that that I was given the opportunity to make something that not everybody could do, yeah, it's still pretty cool.
Kind of reminds me that there was a story. When I was growing up, fascinated by, like most of us young men, by magic and illusionists and whatnot. And I was really into Harry Houdini and reading books about his life. And there was what you were just saying brings up a story in one of the books that I had read about a young man who wanted to learn magic from Harry Houdini. And, he had pestered Houdini on several occasions when he came through town. And Houdini just, realized there was something there that his response was that you think you want to know how these tricks are done, but you really don't. And what's going to happen is I'm going to tell you how these tricks are done, and you're going to lose that lust for life and for exploration and trying to figure things out. If I just give it to you, you're not going to have that sense that there's still magic in the world. And like you were just saying about, you've studied film, and so now when you watch films, even now, I would reckon that you see things, and it's that you kind of lose that magic, and it does kind of put you in a place where it's not fun anymore, really. And that is kind of a tragic thing about video games, I would suppose, developing video games anyways, that you could end up in that space where I love video games. I love playing video games, especially MMOs. Obviously, we're doing the show today. But if I knew everything about how they were put together, would I still have that? Would there still be that magic there? Would there still be that passion after that? Being behind the curtains, seeing how it's all put together. For me, I think there still would be, but definitely not for playing it, because you would know all the cheats. You'd know, well, this character's or this boss is gonna make these moves, and you would know all the potential outcomes, and you know how to defeat everything. So it's not going to be as fun as it is for us to play the games right now, because you're going to know what to do. There won't be you won't have to go to Wowhead or any of these fan sites to see how to beat a boss, or how to beat a dungeon, or how to make it all the way to the top to Torghast, because you're already going to know.
Yeah.
So it kind of brought that story to mind of, that losing that magic and that lust for life, and that desire to figure things out for yourself, So yeah.
Well, that's true. When you see about how you make the sausage, you don't want to know anymore. I mean, people said this is kind of similar. When I was working at McDonald's during college, they go, "Oh, you're gonna hate the food now because now you know how it's made." I'm like, well, actually, no. I actually like the fact that they have a process. They are clean. They do a lot of good things. So no, it's good. My youngest daughter and her husband are both in the game industry, and they generally avoid going to games cons because they're like, why? They see a lot of it, know a lot of it. They're not really that they play games. They love playing games still, and they do know the magic behind it. I mean, I've been in the airplane industry for 35 years, and so I know what goes on. I mean, it's not people are like, oh my goodness, yeah, it is pretty amazing to design and build an airplane, but I also know what goes into sausage. It's like, yeah, it's just, I don't know why anybody else can't do it, because it seems like you just you design, you build it. I mean, no one can do it, but you still only Airbus and Boeing do it these days. I mean, other air companies have tried to do it. I mean, even the Russians have tried to do it, the Chinese, and they're struggling, and they don't, even though they kind of know it. But anyways, at my age, okay, knowing, I've seen other sausage making, so to speak, I would be interested in doing an MMO because it'd be kind of fun, collaborative space of doing it. Yes, there could be the fact that I would know all the tips and tricks, right? But to actually be behind a development of a project like this would be fantastic. There was at one point a lot of folks in my family thought about that. They thought about creating a little studio, because I have people in my family who are smart with graphic design, art, right? Even environmental art, and writing, coding, music. Okay, people in my family. It's not just my family. Obviously, it's combination of some of my in-laws too. Okay, But the fact that we have all that talent, we thought about doing it. We started to do a Discord. We started moving forward on this, right? People were learning things. I even downloaded Unreal Engine to learn more about it, different things, right?
wow.
But kind of like just a little bit, because one of the things that popped up was making sure maybe if we're going to do this, we got to make sure we understand the legal aspects, you might say, because as you get going forward and things do start popping and say, what happens when success does, spoil Rock Hunter? That's an old movie. But anyways, yeah. But I think it'd be fun. I mean, development process. I've been a part of those things at work for a long time, and just seeing it all come together, and you're like, he's like feeling good. And even though compromise always happens, no one's happy, no one's sad. That just means that you got a good game, you got a good thing. So yeah, I would love to do it. Really good question. I thought this might be more of a yes/no question, but yeah, that was really good, guys. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Check out the further adventures of Kennethan by liking and subscribing and watching me live on twitch.tv/Kennethan.